All right, I want to explain to you for a second why I chose ProPresenter. Now, I took my ministry from a cardboard table, one computer as a PC, and built it all the way up to a live broadcast studio, green screen shooting. We shot professional video inside there, even for TV stations and things like that. And we also did a live stream for our church congregation. And so I want to tell you why I chose ProPresenter, but first I want to tell you ProPresenter may not be for everybody, and that's okay. A lot of people like Media Shout and Easy Worship, and I understand that. There's some good reasons for that. I'm going to dive into ProPresenter and tell you why I like that. First of all, I like ProPresenter on a Mac. Macs are not perfect, and supposedly Macs can get viruses. I've never gotten one. I've used a Mac for close to 7 years now, and never gotten a virus ever. And I don't run antivirus on my machine. Mac's very solid in that area. I could give you a whole speech as to why Mac is different, but I'll digress. I could go on and on about Macs. I love Macs too. But ProPresenter on Mac is what I use. And I use it over Easy Worship, having used that for a number of years. And Media Shout, I never could quite figure that out. But I will say one thing. It's not quite as easy. The transition from ProPresenter from Easy Worship was hard because I felt like Easy Worship was just a little bit easier to use. But that's where it stops, okay? ProPresenter is more reliable than either Easy Worship or Media Shout. It's more robust. It's industry standard. It can scale from the smallest system all the way up to the largest system. Some of your largest churches in America are using Easy Worship, so it will grow with you. You know, you can edit videos to a degree inside of it. So, you know, you can set your in point on a video and out point. So you don't have to have an editor. You can just throw the video in there, say, I want to start here, I want to end here. And then you can take pictures and throw them into a timeline and automatically play them. So let's say you're doing a VBS and you shot 30 pictures. All you have to do is load them up onto the computer, drop them in there and say, I want to autoplay this, and it'll do all the work for you. Very cool stuff. Now let's talk about volunteers for a second here. How did they adjust? Because at the time I had 10, 12 volunteers when we made the switch from Easy Worship to ProPresenter, and I made the switch, spent a lot of time that week getting it together, put it in front of them, and I asked them, I said, how are you doing? You know, I showed them the controls and everything like that on the Sunday morning, and they said, you know, I had struggles switching. To my amazement, they said, no, it's fine. And then I didn't have a hiccup from transitioning all my guys each week. You know, we have about 4 people each week, and we go over the course of 3 weeks. I brought them in and said, hey, how are you doing on this? Is it going all right? And they said, yeah, it's fine. No problems. And so it caught me off guard there that they adjusted so easy when I didn't. It was just me, I guess. Rock solid. Now, when I was using Easy Worship and Media Shout on a PC, it was a 50-50 chance on whether the video was going to play. And I would go to play a video. Sometimes it would play, sometimes it wouldn't. I'd go to change a slide. Sometimes it would, and sometimes it wouldn't. Now, I can't tell you, you know, honestly, to be fair with these other companies, I can't tell you if it was the PC I was using. It was purchased from the store. It wasn't pieced together. I could never get it to work smoothly. When we went to ProPresenter on a Mac, we hit the button, it played. I can count on one hand how many times we ever had a trouble with playing a video or anything, rebooting the computer. We have had to do that. But over the course of 6 years, 7 years, I mean, oh my goodness, I can't remember. It might happen once a year that we had a problem. We had SSDs in the Mac, so we could literally reboot in about 30 seconds, okay? SSD, if you don't know, is a solid-state hard drive. They're not expensive nowadays. They were then, okay? Industry standard, let's talk about that. So let's say you start out and you have a church plant and it grows to be 1,000 in your church, okay? ProPresenter will grow with you all the way. You're not going to have to get to a point and go look for other software. ProPresenter will grow with you. It is industry standard. There's a lot of things in the industry it works with. So if you did decide to add additional pieces of equipment, more chances than not they're going to work with ProPresenter. The iPad iPhone viewer. Now this really comes into the small churches that are wanting to save money. You can get an iPad, set it on your stand, and through the Wi-Fi, it will pick up all the text that's on the screen, but it will put it in a viewer so that your singers, your song director, or whatever can see not only the words on the screen, not even have to look up, they can look at their iPad, but they can see the next slide. And there's a clock, and there's some other cool features on there. So iPad, iPhone viewer, but you can also control ProPresenter with your iPad or iPhone. So you could be sitting there on stage pushing the buttons for the next if you needed to do that. Planning Center Online. This is the coolest thing, okay? So if you don't know what Planning Center Online is, I'll talk to you later in the series, but just a brief glimpse here. If you went online or you used your app, you could put all the songs for your service, and then you could say email, and it will send out the music to all of your instruments. You know, if you have a guitarist or whatever, drummer, it will soloist, it will send out the music to them automatically. But it also updates online. Okay, it also updates ProPresenter. ProPresenter works with this Planning Center Online. So I just got done talking to a music minister that's using this, and he puts it in his app, sends all the emails to everybody that needs to have it, automatically sends it to ProPresenter. They walk in Sunday morning and they bring up the playlist on ProPresenter. It's already there because a music minister only had to put it in there once. Didn't have to get with anybody, okay? Very, very cool stuff. The site licenses. Once you pay for one license, it's just at $400. You pay for another one, you might as well go ahead and get a site license, okay? And what that will allow you to do is have unlimited amount of PCs and Macs on your campus. It covers both PC and Mac. You don't have to buy separate licenses. So it really does grow with you well. Let's say you're starting out with one screen. It will grow into multiple screens, all kinds of screens, different campuses. It'll control all of that. And then one of the cool things I did, kind of along the lines of the second screen, is they have the ability to slave. And so you have one machine here and one machine here, and when you push the button over this one, it goes through your Wi-Fi or through your network and changes it over here. And what we did is that we would show all of our songs on our screens in our auditorium, and then over here, this Mac, we had a way, and it sent it out to our broadcast and overlaid the text in what's called a lower third. This lower third, and so you'd be able to be out and about watching it on your iPhone or watching the live broadcast on your computer. You could also see all the words to the songs below if you wanted to sing along. So that's something we did there, and I just give that as an example that they have the ability to grow into any situation that you're faced with in churches. And the final thing is that when you do a library, when you get a library built up, if you change software, if you have to change software, you're going to spend time. It took me a year to transition from, we were using one program to Easy Worship. It took me a year. You know, I just do it every week. I take those songs. It takes about a year to get all the songs or go through all the songs that we used. And the same thing when I went from Easy Worship to ProPresenter. It took about a year to get all the songs in there. So it's a big investment, takes a lot of time. And since we went to ProPresenter, I've never considered moving. In fact, several people have come on staff and they just love ProPresenter, and I never had to transition again. And so it took, you know, quite a few hours to make that transition. So you don't want to do that very often. So it's going to save you time. So that's why I'm choosing ProPresenter, and I pulled together some of the best tutorials for you to go through from Renewed Vision themselves. So they have staff that have went through and step by step they're going to show you some of the highlights of ProPresenter. Watch these things, and I would encourage you, if you're just getting started or you're looking for something more rock solid, get ProPresenter. It will serve you well.